If you're a knife enthusiast and you take an honest, objective look at the Cold Steel Knife Company, I really do not see how you could come away unimpressed. I know, some guys are turned off, perhaps, by the way Cold Steel markets their blades. Maybe it's a more proof or absolute proof series of videos showing how the knives can withstand a variety of hardcore testing. By the way, in these videos, I never detect anything that is untrue. I never watch a video from Lim Thompson and gang and say, you know what, that's bunk. That didn't happen. In fact, it's just the opposite. I think everything they show on camera is truth. It happens. Cold Steel knives are excellent, and they're everything they say they are, but along the way, perhaps a message emerges that a lot of guys don't dig, and that is, hey, we are the best knife in the world, and everybody else sucks. We all know, especially if you've been watching my videos here in the Nutnfancy Project, hello world, Nutnfancy blade review coming your way. We know that's not true. There's a lot of great knife designs out there. A lot. There's a lot of great knife designs that can withstand the very test Cold Steel does. I have no doubts at all. However, when we talk about Cold Steel, well, let me say, when I talk about Cold Steel, as a gear reviewer, I peel away from that. Okay, I'm down to the blade, and that's what I concentrate. And if you don't like Cold Steel, and perhaps you don't like Cold Steel because of the marketing, make sure you clarify that, because that's honesty. You want to be honest. I think they make great blades, but I don't like how they market it. Fair game, man. If you say that, all the more power to you. That's an honest, high integrity statement that anyone can respect, and no one can argue with that. But if you say Cold Steel makes bad knives, I don't like the knives, dude, don't even go there. It is not true. Cold Steel blades are outstanding. Right out the gate here in the Nutnfancy Project, I was reviewing them because they are outstanding. What do I gravitate towards as a consumer? And by the way, that is my rudder for my knife reviews. Simple as that. What do I feel passionate about as a knife consumer? These types of designs right here, okay, that get it right, and all the talking points I do in most of my knife reviews. Steel, speed, strength, handle material, ergonomics, all this stuff, durability, and more importantly, value, all come together so often in so many Cold Steel knife designs. So yeah, well over 2 years now, I've been reviewing Cold Steel and recommending Cold Steel knives. Here's 3 great examples right here, all reviewed. Recon Scout, Trailmaster, Laredo Bowie. These are great, timeless designs with amazing utility in their philosophies of use. And it just goes on and on and on. Again, if you give an honest look, there's a Cold Steel SRK, one of the best soldier knives out there. You know, AUS 8 steel. What's not to like about the SRK? Strong knife design, affordable knife design. Again, talking about value. Getting carried away, getting to the point, trust me. There's another one, Laredo Bowie, great knife. Sheath was scratching the blade, that was not so great. Trailmaster, quintessential wilderness blade. All right, so if you're a Cold Steel, oh, there's that Natchez Bowie. That thing is sick. Previously reviewed in the Nutnfancy Project. Highly recommended. Probably my all-time favorite production Bowie knife out there. Hands down. That thing's a sword. Lim Thompson has some great videos on that too. Great videos demonstrating the capabilities of that knife. And they're truth. You know, you may not like the presentation style or what he's saying in it, but don't refute what's happening, dude. I think it's truth. That's what I'm after as a gear reviewer. Okay, so Cold Steel fans are stoked. Other guys may not be so stoked by my words. That's cool. Understood. Coburn reviewed that. As a Cold Steel knife fan, though, this may be good, it may be bad, and this is what we're getting to right now, is they'll discontinue knives. There may be some knives you're really sold on. You're like, man, that's a great blade. I really love it. And then the next year, it's gone. It's, I know all knife manufacturers do this, but Cold Steel really does it. Okay, so on to the crux of this review. Sometimes it's a good thing, not that they go away, but the style changes. Okay, and again, we're talking about Cold Steel innovation, that they're not afraid to take chances or say, yeah, that was a beloved knife design. It was great. We loved it. A lot of guys loved it. It sold well. We're going to improve it. We're going to totally change it. Here we are in 2010, and 3 of the most favored folding knife designs in the Cold Steel lineup were changed big time. First up, previously reviewed, highly recommended, Cold Steel, new model, AK-47. Cold Steel, new model, American Lawman. Cold Steel, new model, Recon 1. And that is going to be the focus of this review right here. A lot of similarities between the blades because they all kind of underwent the same design revision, more or less. But I'm going to focus on this one right here, the Cold Steel Recon 1. I'm going to kick things off with a quick look at the previous version, Cold Steel Recon 1, reviewed by me, Nutnfancy, April 2009 for the project. You'll see there an annotation where that video can be found. And in it, you will also see that I have a lot of good things to say about that version of the Recon 1. A lot of them will be echoed in the talking points as I cover the new model. However, there were a couple big criticisms I had to level as an objective knife reviewer, as a passionate knife user myself. Stuff that I see that's kind of jacked up. Okay, what do you think the biggest issue I had, without going back and watching the video, would be on the previous Recon 1? TMPers already know. Weight! Of course, weight. I am very consistent on the weight issue. At 6.6 ounces, the previous version, Cold Steel Recon 1, for me, too heavy. But Nutnfancy, it's a 4-inch blade, heavy-duty, tactical folding knife. That's not too heavy. For me, it is. But Nutnfancy, you need, steel liners for a strong folding knife. No, you don't. There's a lot of materials out there where you can achieve near or same or even better handle strength without using steel. And in this version, they didn't even skeletonize it. I hit that pretty hard too. And if you need that much torsional rigidity in your folding knife, maybe, just maybe, you should think about going to a fixed blade. Something I've always said as well. Don't get me wrong, I like a strong folding knife. Absolutely. However, if it's around 7 ounces, it's a knife that I'm pretty much going to do this with. Leave it home. Speaking from experience, over a year and a half, well, not a year and a half, yeah, about a year and a half has passed. This is my Recon 1 previous model, by the way. And you know how many times I've carried it, both in duty use, military, civilian? Once. That's about it. I mean, I carried it a lot prior to the review, so I know how it, carried and all that, probably about a dozen or so times. But I'll tell you, since then, since I've done the review, I haven't chosen it because the competition is so stiff. I mean, there's so many competitive options that I prefer over a pretty much 7-ounce blade, the Recon 1. Okay? So, yeah, pretty consistent on the weight issue. I will not relent. And yes, my arbitrary 4-ounce goal, that's all it is a goal for a tactical folder, is still there. If it's a heavy-duty tactical folder, I'm willing to go more weight. I've always said that. Okay, someone's listening, and someone's being influenced, I guess, by my harping on the weight issue. As I beat the war drums year after year, namely, Cold Steel. For 2010, every version of the knife I'm talking about has integrated the exact things which I discussed in my reviews. The new Recon 1, subject to this review, 1.4 ounces lighter. Nicely done. Previously reviewed, new model AK-47, much lighter. Gonna be reviewed, the American Lawman, all lighter. Outstanding job, Cold Steel. And the beauty of it is they lighten these knives, substantially lighten these knives without, detracting from any of the things we're going to talk about. If we're going to talk about strength here in a second, it's amazing. First up, talking points, philosophy of use. I'm still going to say it. Lightweight, tactical blade. Here's the new model, Recon 1. Okay? Tactical blade. Who needs a tactical blade? Well, I don't know. Who are you? Civilian, cop, law enforcement dude, civilian sheepdog? You just might. I like having it. I like layers, I like layers of weaponry whenever it's appropriate. Absolutely. We all hope we don't need it, but what if you do? Could the knife serve in that purpose? I think it could. Could be an EDC blade, although I do think the full-size 4-inch bladed new model Recon 1, too big for me. Some guys like the bigger blades. I like the smaller blades. Here's a mini AK-47 reviewed as well. This is a great EDC choice. You can see the difference in blades. Okay, collectible. Yeah, there may be some guys that will collect every version of Cold Steel knife that comes out. Absolutely. And incidentally, this is what I was talking about. Here, the old model is gone, and Cold Steel progresses in innovation, discontinues some models, even though they might be beloved by some guys. But mostly I see it as a good thing because now we have a superior knife design. Old, new. Okay, that's pretty much POU. Size is a little bit more trim. If we look at the thickness, and I think this is an advantage, look at how thin the new model is compared to the old. Nicely done, Cold Steel. Okay, size-wise, it's a little shorter overall, but still wears the 4-inch blade. I don't know if I'm showing that adequately. How about that right there? Okay, more compact, more size efficient. Nicely done. Steel blade shape. No changes here. Mostly, if we, I guess I'll show this, the old version. I liked the clip blade of the Recon 1. That's one of the good things I said. I was like, this is a nice blade. Another reason I love Cold Steel so often is it comes out of the box so freaking sharp. Yes, razor sharp out of the box. They do such a superb job on this. AUS 8 steel is outstanding for its price point. Okay, it has adequate rust resistance, which is going to be improved by the Teflon coating. Okay, so there's an old blade shape, new blade shape. I like the Teflon coating. I'll talk about that here more in a second. Lubrication for cutting. Yeah, I guess that's cool. Black coating. Yeah, I guess that's cool. I do like the added rust resistance because I don't think AUS 8, in this case, was it AUS 8A, is that great in rust resistance. Edge holding, adequate. Toughness, pretty good actually in toughness, at least as Cold Steel makes it. So I think it's a high value, great choice in blade steel. I love the blade shape. Delicate tip, I'll take it. I can, dig out splinters with it. I can do fine detail work with it. It's a great pierce cutting tip. But Nutnfancy is too darn delicate. Could be, what do you plan on to do with it? If you're dropping it tip first on the concrete, yeah, it's probably too delicate. But the Cold Steel Recon 1 is offered in a lot of versions. I'll go and show you it now. Like this one. The much thumped on Cold Steel Plain Edge Tanto version. I showed you guys this in the AK-47 vid, right? And I think then I mentioned also, and I'll talk about that in strength here in a second, I was going to take all this Teflon off and just polish the blade and make it look really sick. Really beautiful. Easy to do. I just take the blade out and just polish it up. Easy, use some flits on it. I think it looks cooler like this. It does. It's going to stay like this. But talking about tip strength, if you don't like the clip, go with the Tanto version, just like that. You have choices. You got 4 different blade styles. You got Tanto, clip, and then you can go partially serrated. Okay, and I think this one here on loan in the Nutnfancy project is a clip partially serrated. Let's see. Yep. By the way, I don't dig Cold Steel serrations. Pretty much don't. I don't like them. I think they're rough and they grab too much. And I think they're delicate. With hard use cutting, I think the teeth come popping off. I know because I've seen it myself, done it myself prior to TMP. Anyways, blade shape is excellent though. But as we get in, I want to jump ahead to handle, and we're talking about blade shape. There is a noticeable lack of my favorite thing called jimping. No jimping. And I think there is a mild attempt here on the G10 handle, as you can see here. Too shallow. It's meaningless. It doesn't do anything, and there's nothing on the blade. So that's one miss on the design. It would have been easy to really mill those grooves down sharply so you have traction. I guess you could do it yourself. Maybe take a Dremel tool or something there. Be careful, though. You're going to just make it look bush league, and you're going to ruin a beautiful knife. My solution is what you're looking at. Just put a little sliver of skateboard tape up there, and I'll tell you with that, traction is amazing, especially when we're talking about the shape of the guard. Check that out. How ergonomic it is, just like I talked about in the AK-47 review, how deeply, the handle carries like that, which in and of itself is a retention methodology for the knife, right? So we may not have jimping, but we have a deep finger guard that prevents our hand going forward, maybe in a pierce cut. Okay, so no jimping. Oh, whatever. Love the blade shape, though. My favorite between the two, you guys know this. Guys have been watching my knife reviews for a while. Of course, the clip blade. I don't mind the Tanto. You'll probably see some more Tanto reviews, just like you're seeing right now. I like the clip blade, though. I like the hollow grinding, by the way. Forgot to mention that of it, too. Yes, I like FFG, that it's full flat grinding. Hollow grinding, as it's done by Cold Steel, is a pretty amazing slicer. Speed is excellent. Maybe not on par with the waveable AK-47 as it comes out the pocket. Okay, because you don't have that capability with the Recon 1. You'll have to determine if that's important to you. The thumb stud, reversible, left to right. And by the way, the whole knife is fully ambidextrous. It includes a, left side pocket clip. Of course, I'm right-handed. I'm carrying the right side pocket clip, but you can reverse the thumb stud too. No Wizard of Oz issues on the thumb stud. Deploys nice and fast. And dudes, it locks up so solid. So solid. Gratifyingly solid out of the box. No up and down, side to side. Speed is outstanding for its design. Again, if you want a wave knife, get a wave knife. The Recon ain't it. Lock up and strength. Well, it's got the Triad Lock mechanism. Why did they abandon the Ultra Lock from the previous? Not sure. Maybe they lost their licensing. I think someone told me that. They didn't have the licensing from Benchmade anymore. I don't know. I don't really care. I love the Triad Lock. You know why? Because it's strong. It really is strong. Again, getting back to the marketing videos of Cold Steel. Some guys may not like them, but I'll tell you what. The tests they do in the Triad, in my opinion, and maybe it'll change in the future, but I've had no evidence that shows that it will. Their videos showing the strength are absolutely true. Witness this version. I talked about this in the AK-47 review. Went out and thumped this hardcore, man. 30 minutes. Just bashing this sucker through the wood. Because I wanted to find out for myself. Yes, I know Cold Steel does it themselves. There's no way I can replicate to the depth and variety of their tests, nor do I have time. And I think they do some great tests. Pretty much valid is what I'm telling you. Is this Triad Lock mechanism, as the blade shoulder is enveloped with that stop pin, it's amazingly strong. And all the stress, at least in pounding, transferred to the stop bar, not to the lock. Okay, so what did that result in? It resulted in a little bit of play. Not much. Not much. In fact, now after I've tightened it up since I reviewed the AK-47, I don't detect any. Because after I got done with that review, I was like, I wonder if I can tighten that up. And I did. I tightened the pivot screw up. I Loctite it like I always tell you guys to do. And how many locks can do that? Blade strength. So we shed basically 1.5 ounces off this knife. Is it any less strong than the previous version? Well, Nutnfancy, you didn't really pry with it, and the steel model would be, more strong. I disagree. I think the 100% G10 handle model that does not have any steel liners, by the way, 100% G10, nicely done. Nicely done. I think it's just as strong. Demko's saying it's stronger. Again, we have some high-tech materials here. Let's use them in our knife designs. If you're a traditionalist, I understand that. But this really isn't a traditional knife. This is a tactical folder, first and foremost, and it's wearing some pretty tactical features. Black coating, G10 handle. A lot of other knives to go with if you're a traditionalist, right? Lockup is superb. I love the Ultra Lock. Is it as fast as... I love the Triad Lock. Is it as fast as the Ultra Lock? Maybe some guys miss their, fancy deployments with it. I do love the Access Lock of Benchmade. I've said that thousands of times. I love this lock. I think it's a strong lockup, though. Is it as strong as a Triad? Personally, I haven't tested it. I would suspect probably not, because there's not a stop pin taking all the force when you're smashing it with a huge log. Incidentally, that AUS 8A steel passed with flying colors too, and coming out of the test still wears a credible edge. Yes, I know. When guys say that, well, yeah, I built a whole house with this knife. I chopped down 2x4s, and it was still hair shaving sharp. I'm always like, as if. There's no way. Well, I didn't build a house with it. I did do some heavy-duty thumping for 30 minutes, and it wasn't hair shaving sharp, but it's pretty sharp. For a stainless steel, not a tool steel, I'm like, whoa. Pretty good. Remember the price point we're talking about here. Lockup, great. Handle material, very similar to the previous version. I like that about the previous version, Recon 1. High traction G10. It comes in different models. I've said that. Not models, but different types of G10. This is the high traction type, that when you put your thumb on it, it digs in, that it doesn't slide forward. This is the kind we want. Right up to the point when we start talking about our clip. Wah, wah. Because under the clip, that same high traction G10 can create a problem with your pockets. Okay, reference my video. You'll see there an annotation of how to cure that problem with what I call a JB Weld modification. And Krylon spray paint. Nutnfancy, just sand it. No, I'm not sanding it. No way. I like this better. So yeah, I did the modification on this Recon 1, and it is superb. Again, if you're left or right, you choose the side of your clip. I recommend doing the underclip mod. Now the knife deploys so quickly. It's not obnoxious. It doesn't shred your pockets. I love the handle material though. And I like how you can take it apart. There's your mini Torx fasteners. You have a 6061 hardened aluminum backspacer, just like you do in the AK-47 model. I like that. It's not flow-through, pillar construction, but not a big deal. And I'll tell you, looking in here and seeing no steel at all, it just warms the heart. Nicely done, Cold Steel. Ergonomics, I've kind of addressed already. I think they're superb. Notice the curvature that fits a hand. Yes, we lack jimping. I've addressed that already. I like the curved, areas, the finger guard for the hands. Reverse grip, how's that? It's superb. It feels very comfortable, and notice the round portion right here for your thumb. In the closed position, can we do non-lethal impacts? Absolutely. It is still a relatively large knife, albeit smaller than the previous version. Ergonomics overall, that include the thumb stud, the handle material, the shape, superb. I have nothing bad to say about it. Clip design. I already talked about the underclip issues. There's no surprise there. Notice what they did though. New model, Cold Steel Recon 1 on the left. Check it. You notice any difference on the positioning of that clip? What did I say about this one? I said it rides too high in the pocket. You have this much exposed, banging into everything as you're walking. Some guys, well, you need that to grab the knife. No, you don't. It's easy. This one rides so much better in the pocket. It carries lower. If you want something to grab, throw a lanyard on it. There's a lanyard hole. There's a dozen different types of lanyard mechanisms you can have hanging out of your pocket so you can access it. I like the clip better too. The split clip design on the previous version, Recon 1, wasn't bad. Didn't mind it. I like this one better though. Lower profile, and I think it's stronger. You can see how it's profiled. No Wizard of Oz issues. At least I haven't noticed any carrying it. I don't think it needs to be ground down. There are other Cold Steel pocket clips, which I've shown in video, that I felt need to be ground down, and I did just that as a knife aficionado. You can adjust the pivot point, by the way, if you have to. You shouldn't though, because at least all the versions I have examined, I have 3 on the table right here, are perfect out of the box. They have no problems at all. Durability, I think, is going to be superb. Why do I say that? Well, how about that? There's one reason. Okay, and then talking to my TMPers worldwide and all the reports I get from those guys, that's another reason. I don't hear a lot of failures about Cold Steel. And if you get a failure, I'm not going to say there can't be any. Any knife can break. Any knife can have problems. Certainly, I've seen amazing amount of surprising number of failures in different knives. But generally, Cold Steel is going to hook you up. I know, because I've used their customer service, and it's excellent. You send them back. Occasionally, they'll balk, if you've been chopping down trees or something. Hey, that knife's not supposed to be used that way. Well, not according to your literature, it is. They generally do great stuff. Durability is outstanding. I think the knife will last forever, unless maybe the clip version you drop on the concrete and you break it. That's your fault, though, not the knife's fault. If you want a sharp tip and the utility that comes with that sharp tip, you got to treat it in a certain way. Love the belly, by the way. I didn't mention that. Love the belly. Great slicing knife. Great food preparation knife, the Recon 1. I know, because I've used it. Slice is awesome. Excuse me. Value? I think the value is excellent. Again, this is why I'm stoked about Cold Steel, guys. You know that. Why is it fundamental in the project? It's because there's so much value on so many of their designs. Yeah, sometimes they get out of hand. When you get the Sanmai 3, several $100, $300 plus, that's an expensive knife. A lot of times they get it right, though. And in this whole series gets it right in terms of value, strength, cutting capability, and they're cool looking knives. These are handsome blades, all of them, and the Recon 1 is no different. It is a handsome, good looking blade. For around $57, you go to our friends there, yourcornerstore.com, hopefully has them in stock, because when I do a review, they sell out. They're gone for weeks, sometimes months. Sorry. It's less than the AK-47. What did I ballpark that at? Where'd that knife go? I think around $65. So this is more expensive than this version. That's a lot of knife for the money. I think value is superb. And let's talk about competitive options. So we're talking about a very strong 4-inch bladed stainless steel tactical folding knife. What's some alternatives? Well, like I said at the outset of this video, there's some great alternatives. Great alternatives. How about Benchmade 550 HG? That is a great knife, 3.8 ounces, so it's substantially lighter than this one. No, the blade's not as long. Great steel. About $70, so it's going to be even more. Okay, and these are pretty much all reviewed. Several Spyderco Enduro models, and you guys know I'm a huge Spyderco fan. How about this one? The gorgeous, previously reviewed Enduro 4 G10. Full flat ground. the predecessor to the regular Zytel handled FFG models. This is a great knife. It's a strong knife. And yes, it has skeletonized liners in it too. Okay, 4.4 ounces. It's lighter still, but it's around $110, maybe a bit less. So it's about 40% more than this knife. Does it provide the same level of strength? Well, that's debatable. And I think if you're going to go out batoning with it, and incidentally, guys said, why were you batoning with a fixed, with this knife? I thought you liked fixed blade. Well, because for a long time, I've kind of had the question rolling around in my head, is there ever going to be a fixed knife that can withstand that? Several times I've done it, even here in the Nutnfancy project, and the answer is no, they can't. Maybe this knife couldn't either, and no, I'm not going to go out trying. I'm not going to go thump on a $110 Endura to find out. But I think lacking that stop bar that the Triad Lock mechanism has, I don't think it's going to be as strong. As in the POU of Tactical Folder, EDC blade, absolutely it'll be superb. Lots of other Spyderco models to choose from, which are less expensive. My highly recommended Spyderco FFG models, this one's in blue, 3.8 ounces, you kidding me? $48 from your corner store, 2010. Prices and models, subject to change, subject to discontinuance. Get it while you can. This is a great knife. Is it as strong as this knife? Probably not. Again, lacking the stop bar. But in most uses, I think it's superb. Great blade, VG10 steel. Don't get me started. Have lots of videos out there. What else we got? Oh, other versions. Here's a ZDP 189. Saber Ground Endura 4. Great knife. Absolutely love it. It's more expensive, though, by about 40%. What is that? I don't even have the price here. Spyderco G10 Police. Awesome blade. Awesome. Look how flat that sucker is. More expensive, though. Same weight, 5 ounces. Actually, a little bit lighter. $110 as well for this model. Love this model. One of my all-time favorite large tactical folding knives. Again, may have the same issues. These are all lockbacks, though. Notice I haven't rolled any liner locks in with you because I think, to be fair to the Recon 1, it's a strong knife. So what can compete? Well, very few knives can compete with its strength at its price level. That's what I'm telling you right now. Very few. No steel liners. Okay. Cool factor is huge. Great blade. Awesome steel for the price. There's a lot better steels out there. But remember, this is a sub $60 knife, guys. Okay, so let's be realistic in our expectations. Well, I hate Aussade. Okay, then pay $200. Pay $150. Pay $150 for a Benchmade. And I love Benchmade. But this is a great knife design. Cold Steel, huge kudos, man. Cold Steel, watching the Nutnfancy project, hearing me harp on the weight issue, I think it's huge. I think this, from what I'm seeing in the stock levels of both the new model Recon 1, new model AK-47, new model Lawman, they're selling like crazy. Crazy. You have connected again with the American and worldwide knife enthusiast. You don't like Cold Steel? Okay, we'll separate it. You don't like their marketing, I understand. But dudes, how can you not like a blade like this? I don't understand it. Ergonomics, clip design, G10 handles, the toughness demonstrated here in the Nutnfancy project even, and by the company themselves in multitudes of videos. It's an absolute win. Cold Steel Recon 1. Home run, another home run, 2010 by Cold Steel. Thanks for watching. This is Nutnfancy.